when people come at you over like text for advice and you know that they're the people who aren't really looking for real thoughts, I call them the heart emojis. They just get the little heart emoji on whatever they said. That's all they get from me. It's like, sounds good.
Alyssa, has this ever happened to you? You are having a conversation with a friend and you realize that your friend is the problem. Like your friend is asking you for advice and it's like, you're the problem.
100%.
How do you react when that happens?
So, like, ever since the Taylor Swift song came out, I try to be funny about it and be like, hi, it's me. I'm the problem. I'm like, if you heard that song, it's so funny. So here's the thing. If they have come to me for advice and I'm listening and I'm like, you're the problem, I try to very nicely be like, have you thought about what your actions might have, elicited from this person? Like, how did you think what you said was going to play out? How would you feel if I said that to you? That's how I try to do it.
I'd imagine it doesn't always go well. Like, I'd imagine that sometimes the person hearing that is like, that's not what they want to hear. We're going to talk about that today. Like the slipperiness between being a good friend, quote unquote, and being honest, and whether those two things always coexist. So I'm going to bring in the rest of our panel. Our first panelist is bringing her pod on tour in the Northeast this weekend. Get your tickets to any of the shows that aren't sold out. Ooh, big time. At that'smesseduplive.com. Kara Klenk, welcome to Hysteria.
Hello, it's great to be back. How are you guys?
We're great. It's good to see your face.
I know.
I feel like you've been touring around.
I know. I've been touring around, and when I'm not, I'm sick in a house with my children.
Oh, no. Have you and your family invented any new strains of virus that you can tell us about?
Oh, yeah. My son is doing a thing where if he gets upset for 2 seconds, he throws up. He doesn't even have to work himself into too much of a lather. He just literally will be like, blah. And it's like, the doctor goes, yeah, he's just got a crazy gag reflex. And I'm like, okay, what? Like, I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of that before either.
So it's like, and the second he gets upset, I'm like, you're fine. You're okay. Like, please don't throw up.
Oh my goodness.
So that's what I've been up to.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you get to be on tour and not in the same house as the vomit.
Yeah.
For like a little bit of time. Man, it's a good thing he's so cute.
I know.
And rounding out the panel, you can catch our next panelist in the new film You Hurt My Feelings, which co-stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus and is premiering this week at Sundance. Michaela Watkins, welcome to Hysteria.
Well, it stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I love that. It's another Nicole Hall Center film, and the two of them got together, and it's so good, you guys. I cannot stand it. I cannot wait for you to see it.
Wait, did you know you're going to be at Sundance with one Alyssa Mastromonaco?
I'm not going. I'm sadly.
What?
I know. Oh. Shit, Alyssa. What are you going for?
I'm going because our documentary, Pretty Baby, Brooke Shields, is a selection, and we premiere on Friday. And I could not get tickets to You Hurt My Feelings. It was already sold out. It's great. It's nothing but good news. When we heard we were sold out, we were like, we'll take it. Thank you so much.
No, but I congratulations on the Brooke Shields doc. I hear it's amazing. That's fantastic. No, I'm in England, and so I'm going to watch it here with 3 people. They've done a little. They're setting up a little mini Sundance where hopefully I won't be able to get in because someone spelled my name wrong, and there'll be a DJ and tiny crab rolls that are going to be passed around.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Can you tell us anything?
No, I'm kidding. That won't happen. That's Sundance. That's Sundance.
I was going to say the name being spelled wrong is something I live in fear of every time I go someplace.
Michaela, just for our listeners and some BTS and behind the scenes, Michaela is in England and she has been talking about sweaters for like the last 10 minutes. Yeah. Because that's what happens to you when you.
That should probably be my sanity corner.
Can you tell us anything about the film?
You Hurt My Feelings is actually right on par with what we're talking about today. It's about except it's in a romantic couple when two people are creative or when one person is at least creative, and it turns out that their partner doesn't think that their latest creative achievement is very good. And
wow.
And what happens?
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if I can watch this movie.
I know. Wow. I know. When I called the director who wrote it, I said, to Nicole, I was like, oh my God, I love it, but now I think Fred is lying to me all the time. And she goes, of course he is. I think you're lying to me right now.
Yeah, it does dovetail really well with what we're talking about today, which is like, how do you navigate the, murky waters of friendship when your friend is telling you something and you're not sure if what you should do is be honest with them or be supportive of them. Kara, are you good at giving advice in those situations, and why or why not?
Well, I mean, I think it really depends on the friendship specifically. Like, I have a friend who has been my friend since 3rd grade and recently was broken up with again. And I said, she's somebody I can just go out and say, I was like, you need to work on yourself. Like, you need to figure out why this is happening because you are being too selfish in these relationships and you are turning people away. And she's like, I know. She can accept that from me because we are friends from childhood and I know how to talk to her. There are some friends I would rather die than say something like that to them, So I think it depends on the friendship. I do try to give good advice. I think I try to gently say, well, is it possible they thought this or whatever, when you're like, yes, it's you. Hi, you're the problem. It's you. I definitely try to do that. But then, you have those friends that are like, no, but and are so defensive. So it is so tricky. It is such a slippery, friendship area. But I definitely just think it's so case by case. Who I would say what to is case by case with my friends.
Michaela, what is your take on that? Are you good at giving advice? And have you ever kind of accidentally given advice when what someone wanted was like support and affirmation?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, that's how you learn to be a good friend, I guess, right? It's like getting reprimanded for that. But I like to think I give pretty good advice. And I think the older I get, the better friend I am and the better advice giver I am. And I think the reason for that is because I try to suss out real quick what it is they want from me. Are they wanting advice? Are they wanting an ally? Are they wanting someone to say you did nothing wrong? Are they just wanting love? Are they just a wounded person who just wants someone to say that they just love them and just to hear them? So are they in a household where nobody listens to them and they just need an ear? So I think that there's that. And also, if you are coming to me, you are going to get that, all those things plus a dose of some honesty, because I'm just not a good liar. So, don't go to Starbucks if you want to buy a vacuum cleaner. Don't come to me if you want absolutely no honesty sprinkled in. But I am very thoughtful now about how I do it. I remember I was sitting in a doing some acting job, and Amy Poehler was next to me, and she said, I have a pact with my friends that for I think it was either 10 days, 10 months, or 10 years. I can't remember, but it was something like that. She said, I'm not going to give any advice unless somebody asks. I'm going to really stick to this. I'm not going to give advice unless somebody asks. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I lasted about 10 minutes, before I was like, what you should do. And so, of course we give we'll give somebody advice if they weren't asking for it. But you got to vibe what the person wants, ultimately.
Yeah.
Alyssa, how do you suss that out?
I think Michaela's just spot on. It's like if someone's coming to me and you can tell by the way they approach you. If it's like, Alyssa, I got this problem. What do you think? And they lay it out for you. That's one thing. Then there's forum shopping, when you can tell they've talked to a bunch of other people and they just want you as like a notch in their tote board that's like, see, Alyssa agreed with me. I do not engage in that. That to me is a waste of my time. And because when people, it's always funny. I don't know if you guys find this. The people who come to me, like when your dearest, closest friends that you know you can have real talk with come to you, it starts very much as a conversation. Like, this is what happened. This is what I did. What do you think it meant when this person responded that way, or something like that? Then there are the people who come, they're like, you're not going to believe what happened. What do you think? And they like kind of shouted at you. And it's like, here's everything I did and why I was right. Like, if they position themselves as having been right, they're not looking for anything but you to be like, you're a genius. That's brilliant. Of course. And the truth is, that's maybe where I'm a bad friend, because I'll just give them what they want. I'm not going to, like, there is nothing more. Well, there are many things more, but it is highly upsetting when you really dig into someone's problem with them and then you realize that they were just forum shopping and they do the opposite of what you suggested anyway. And you're like, well, fuck you. Get away from me. I think so much of it is in how they come to you with the problem that you can really kind of sense in a minute. Do they really want some real talk? Like if someone, I have a friend who came to me and she's like, Alyssa, look, at my job, here's what I said, and they kind of know. They're like, here's what I said, and here's how they responded, and what do you think? I'm like, well, I think you put your fucking foot in your mouth is what I think. They're like, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Like, that's one thing. But then when the person comes to you, and like Michaela said, and suddenly you're like, well, in what tone did you say it? Well, what do you mean in what tone did I say it? I was like, okay, we're good. Never mind. I'm sure you were right.
Kara, you're nodding. What's coming up for you?
Oh, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it does make me crazy because I feel as though those different reactions that you're talking about, Alyssa, for me, it tends to be the same thing that the same friend is always like. To me, yes. A friend doesn't come to me one time. Yes, it's like a pattern. I don't have a friend that's like, one day I want your sincere advice and the next day I know I'm right. Like it's usually the same I know I'm right friend comes to you over and over, so you know how to deal with that friend. I have so many friends that are like, they come to you with that, like, and I did this, and this is like, and what do you think? And you're like, yeah, wow, that sounds tough. You can't give advice. And if you do, they never take it. And that makes me crazy. If I spend like the emotional labor to like help you come up with a plan and think of something, and then you go the opposite way, it annoys me. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to take all my advice. I'm not like a guru, but
Don't you feel, I feel like a little used when I look back on those conversations. Like I am being weaponized in this person's mind. Like they just needed me to make them feel empowered to continue their behavior with other people. So in a way, like I am being used against my will to hurt other people by this person who is annoying and wrong.
Do you know who I think of, Erin, in those times? I have like when people come at you over like text for advice and you know that they're the people who aren't really looking for real thoughts, I call them the heart emojis. They just get the little heart emoji on whatever they said. That's all they get from me. It's like, sounds good. Sounds great. Let me know how it turns out. So if you're listening and all you ever get from me is heart emoji, you should stop asking those questions.
Ooh, I am now newly paranoid that you're going to say
no one here has ever gotten the heart emoji unless it was just an LOL.
Michaela, have you ever been on the other side of an interaction, like where you've gone to a friend and what you really want is support, and they've been like, listen, you're fucking up, and you're like, whoa, has that ever happened? How did it go?
Yeah, there was a few years where I was going through breakup, and it's what one of my friends has coined my crazy time. And I polled everybody in the entire planet of whether I should stay in my relationship or not. I just had one friend who kind of just was like, you're being crazy, and I can't take it right now. And I felt well, like my emotions were so heightened. I was out of my mind. In honesty, like I didn't think it at the time. At the time, I thought I was asking a friend for help and that I was being thoroughly rejected. And I was so hurt, and I was so debilitatingly heartbroken because I felt like I would never have done that to you. If you came to me in a time of need, I never, ever would have rejected you. And you just did it. In retrospect, and like 5 years later, whatever, when we came back together again, I apologized, and I was like, I was a crazy pain in the ass, and you were putting up a boundary, and your boundary was really tough and really mean, and I was really tender and really sensitive, and we weren't a match at the time. But she was going through something and didn't want to deal with my shit, and I was confounded at how anybody could look to a friend and say, I can't deal with you right now. Like, that's just not in my emotional vocabulary. So we weren't a fit at the time. We were a great fit before it, and we were a great fit after it. We weren't a friendship that could endure that kind of duress. You know what I mean? So that was telling, but a solid person, and I love this person dearly. We weren't compatible in a crunch time. I'm the kind of guy, like, find me. If you're in pain, if you're upset, if you're anything, I'm your gal. Like, come get me, because I'm there for you, And that's what I mean. Like, know where you're going for what you're going for, I thought this friend was so smart, which is why I was like, tell me this, tell me that. And she was so smart that she was like, doesn't matter what I say, you're out of your ever-loving mind right now. So I respect her, I love her, but I'm the guy that you come to if you're really just feeling unmoored and lost, because I can handle a friendship crisis. I can handle like anything you come to me with. Like, if you tell me you're dying, I can be there. I don't shut down. Like, these are not the things where I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here. This is too heavy. Nothing's too heavy. It's fine. We'll get through it.
You process people's problems like a sommelier. You're like, notes of needing me to listen. And a nice little finish of pep talk is what I'm.
Friendship's a great vintage. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, it's a little dry, but
fruity. This one's fruity.
Yeah.
No, that's it. It does sound like there's a lot of subtleties that it takes a long time to learn.
This is the key. You gotta take it in without taking it on. And I know that sounds like some Brene Brown bullshit or something like that, but I just mean, like, you really gotta let it wash over you so that you can hear the person, but don't feel like you have to go fight their battle. I don't feel like I have to go fight any of my friends' battles for them. So it's very easy to be there for them, because it's just like loving. But I don't get that thing where I get like, I'm going to go with you tomorrow and yell at your kid's teacher.
Kara, do you ever have, is it easy for you to take it in without taking it on, or do you find that your experience with it is different?
Yeah, I was going to say, who's so good at taking it in and not taking it on is men. They're so good at that. My husband will be like, wow, that sounds tough. What are we having for dinner? So I think that is the key, but I struggle with that sometimes, because I will be like, I won't be like I'm coming with you like on the crusade, but I will feel like so horrible for somebody going through something that it'll like bum me out. Like, if, I'll just be thinking of someone a lot, and maybe that's a different thing, but yeah, it's so important, because you have to just be there. Like, yeah, you're listening to someone, you can offer output if that's what they want, but like you can't take on everybody's, and I have friends that do that, and it just like they spiral. Every single person's little thing they have going on, they're like, well, and did you hear what's going on with her and her thing at work? And it's like, is it your thing at work? I don't understand why we're at a 10 right now, and you don't even work at this company. Like, it's so,
I get the impression, there are, and this is like a very small number of people, small but dangerous, like the kind of emotional vampire type people who will overshare problems because they want you to join them in feeling bad. Have you ever had that? Alyssa, you're nodding. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I do. I have a friend who really, she likes to just unload it all to the point that I'm just fucking beat down. That like, she sets it up in such a way, and it's funny because I'm not great. I take it on. If someone really unloads on me, you will get an email follow-up from me that's like, here are 5 articles you should read about what you just told me, or here are a couple products that might help you with what you just told me. And then it's this one person who just specifically doesn't have a lot of friends in her life. And so for that, I feel sad because I feel like my life is so rich. Well, it took me a while to realize she didn't have a lot of people in her life because she is very toxic in how she engages her friends. And she would just unload everything on me, health things, all this stuff. And then I wouldn't hear from her for 2 weeks. And I'd be like, hey, dude, like you just told me all this stuff. How did the trip to the doctor go? How is this? How are you feeling? I'm fine. Why are you being so dramatic, Alyssa? I was like, why am I being dramatic? Because you basically sounded like you were going to die last week. And so like to me, I have really tried to stop. Like I consider that a very one-sided friendship. She is actually one of the people who gets the heart emoji now. Because I realized that the validation, that everything she wanted from me really was validation and attention. And there was nothing. And the heart emoji gave attention almost in the same way as me FaceTiming back for 45 minutes would. So heart emoji it is.
I think that's a really important point because I have friends that they like being pitied. They feel that they love the feeling of people pitying them. And so it is like a little bit of an emotional vampire thing. And yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like you got to go to the right friendship store for that. Like if I want somebody to tell me I'm right, I know who I'm going to.
Right.
And but the thing, I think what I hear from you, Alyssa, is like, here's me giving unsolicited
no, please. This
advice.
is a safe space.
We're on a show where we all give unsolicited advice. I think that it's about boundaries, right? Like I've been I remember I worked with this gal who was half my age, and she came in crying, so upset over this guy. And I was like, oh, you know what I got on you? Years of breakups. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's get in there. And I'm just like, I'm sharing to show that I'm relating, and I'm giving her like personal stories, and she's like starting to feel better. We order some French fries and we're tucking into those and we're having this great thing. And the next day she doesn't even like this guy anymore. She likes a new guy. And I was like, oh, well, fuck this.
Do you know, and one of the things that these many years of my own mental health journey and figuring out what makes me tick made me realize about people like that is that I have an issue when it comes to these friendships. I like to be needed. I like it when people come to me. I like, for people to be like, you know what? Alyssa will know. Right. And so the problem is I opened myself up to too many people who will just abuse that access. And the more I realized it, just the more cats I got, because guess what? They need me all the time. I know how to deal with them and it's fine. But no, it was a me thing, I let a lot of these very toxic people in because they needed me and I loved to be needed and I just needed to find other outlets, was. And once I realized that, that's when she started getting a lot of heart emojis.
One thing that is really tough is when a friend is constantly having crises about a romantic partner and coming to you with all of the stuff that the romantic partner did. And then you just end up having this like very bad opinion of the romantic partner. Like everybody's got problems in their romantic relationship. If you don't have problems, then,
And it's really hard when somebody's like in an emotionally abusive relationship and they keep coming to you and you keep giving them the, let the river run. And they're like they're ready to go out there and break up with them. And then they just get back together over and over and over again. And that's another time where I had to learn to like, okay, boundaries, I got to pull it up. Like if they come to me, start complaining about this person, now they get like a heartfelt, a lot of heavy eye contact, nodding, and just going, yeah, that's got to be hard. And no more of my energy is going to be going there because it's you realize like, oh, you're just on a journey and you got to figure it out, and you just want someone to listen. So if you really want my advice, you'll let me know. But I don't think you do.
Yeah, they don't get the full Carly Simon. They don't get the full.
Yeah, there's something also that's really rough about a person who you're close to. Do you have any friends who are just like, that person's a fuck up? They're a fuck up. I love them, but they're a fuck up. And you have a person who is close to you, who comes to you after making a big fuck up, and they're like, I made a big fuck up. What do I do? And you're like, okay, cool. We're on that honesty level. I'm going to tell you, you did fuck up, and here's what you need to do, and then just don't fuck up again. And then they come back to you and they're like, guess what? I did a fuck up. And you're like, how many times do I feel as though once you open up that fire hose of just completely honest advice, that's sort of like the limit to where your friendship can go. And eventually you get to a point where you're like, I can't do anything for you anymore. And it's like hurting me to watch you hurt yourself, like step on a rake over and over again. Michaela, you're nodding.
Well, I was going to say, Erin, you know what's the best that you just made me think of is I have a couple of friends that we're all like on a text chain and, video chat chain and everything like that. And I have two friends, two of them are in AA. AA people are the most brutally honest and self-aware people I've ever known. And to hear them talk to each other, there's a saying for everything. Like, no matter what is going on, they're like, well, you know what it is. If you're picking up the rock, then you're putting down the clock. And it's just like, what? What does that mean? Well, it's an AA expression. It means like basically, if you're carrying someone else's load, then you're wasting your time. I just made that up. That's pretty good though, guys. But anyway, but it's like, how did you guys do that? You just gave each other the best advice in real time so fast, so brutally, and said, now you're doing to that person exactly that thing that you said that they're doing to you. And they can take it. They can take it because they've made lists, amends, all kinds of shit. And so they're like, their nerves are a little more exposed and probably processing a lot more stuff than maybe other friends. Like, it is astonishing to see people in 12-step like work through their stuff.